The GOP party in Virginia held the largest state party convention in the country this year. And on November 2nd, Governor-Elect Glenn Youngkin's campaign offered lessons for the political world. So joining us now is Rich Anderson, the chairman of the Republican Party of Virginia. Chairman, thank you so much for joining us and welcome back to Cap Review. So the last time we spoke, it was right after the Virginia GOP convention, where the three candidates at the time, Glenn Youngkin, Winsome Sears, and Jason Miyares, were nominated for their respective positions. Now, during our last conversation, you told me that new blood was absolutely essential to the political process and for Virginia to move forward. Talk about the past 6 months, campaigning and how it felt to sweep all the statewide seats and then also win a majority in the House of Delegates.
Well, the last 6 months have been a pretty brisk ride for all of us here in Virginia. As you know, we traversed a very challenging period with our state convention, which was a dispersed event across 39 locations in the state, so that we could cope with the COVID pandemic. And it involved ranked choice voting, which was a first for our state party. Very few parties or government entities have used ranked choice voting. But all that said, we moved through that challenging period and ended up with three, what I believe are great candidates. They must have been, because they certainly got elected as governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general. As you know, we've been in the wilderness as a state party in terms of electing candidates to statewide office. And so it was a very good feel to field these candidates and to have them come out of a very rigorous process as our statewide nominees and eventual winners.
And the governor's race, as we all know, made national headlines. And it's also one that's being said that all parties should take lessons from. So Glenn Youngkin, someone who was virtually unknown 6 months ago to now becoming governor-elect. What did Glenn Youngkin's campaign prove?
Well, what it proved is that an individual who is adept at the planning and execution function of a plan can, in fact, be selected by Virginia voters for the highest office in our Commonwealth. I met Glenn Youngkin shortly after I was elected as the chairman of the party some 14 months ago. He contacted me. He asked to have lunch. We met. I spent 3 hours with him. I heard his vision for the Commonwealth and was most impressed by that. And so he came out of the starting blocks in a very brisk and proficient way for a newcomer to politics. And he was running against 6 other individuals, most of whom were close friends of mine and were very adept at the art and science of politics and campaigns and elections and public policy. But he ended up in the end prevailing. I think probably while one can say that there is value to electing individuals to the highest office in either the state or the country who have held office before and therefore understand the art and science of politics and public policy. Once in a while, I think it's healthy for the system to have someone who has no experience in that, but brings credentials from other disciplines that marks them as a true leader. And in that vein, you essentially, and I don't like this word, but I'll use it because it's overused in politics, but hit the reset button. And I think that's what's happened with Mr. Youngkin. And I think he's going to take the oath of office on January 15th, ready to lead this Commonwealth to a better place.
All right, so speaking of which, looking ahead, what can we expect to see during Governor-elect Youngkin's term?
Well, I think what you can see are the very issues that he spoke about. As he moved through the campaign over the last 6 months, I have found publicly and privately, he is the same in both forums. So what you see is what you get. And he has talked about such things as education in schools in Virginia. He wants to give parents school choice. He wants to emphasize charter schools. We have very few of those in Virginia. So we don't have a lot of experience, but it has been resoundingly successful in other states. He is very concerned about the veterans community, and that resonates with me because I spent 30 years in the Air Force, but it also resonates with roughly 800,000 other Virginians who carry the designation of military veteran. He wants to do a number of things for them, not only services, but also he wants to exempt the first 40% of their retired military income from state income taxes, something that a number of other states do. In fact, a number exempt all 100%. He wants to involve veterans in so many dimensions of life here in Virginia. He also wants to do such things as address the fiscal challenges that families have right now in this COVID period, such as forgiving the gasoline tax increases temporarily while people adjust to all this. So there's a whole host of things that he wants to do. And a lot of that is what he discerned that the voters want, but it's what the voters, and I spent a lot of time with him on the road, it's what the voters told him. I heard them tell him, and those are the things he's embraced.
All right, a lot more to talk about. We'll be back and continue our conversation with Chairman Anderson when we come back. You're watching Capitol Review.